Hello and welcome to Chapter 6, Section 6. This is percent of change. So we've talked about finding the basic percentages, but what happens when numbers change and they say, wow, that was a 200% increase, that kind of thing. Well, that's what we're going to look at today. So what we're looking for is the percent of increase or decrease. And the way that works mathematically is whatever the change in the number is divided by the original number, the number that you started with. So for an example problem would be 27 is decreased to 20. So you're going to do this in two steps. The first thing you're going to do is subtract. 27 minus 20 is 7. So we're going to start with 7. And then we're going to divide that answer by the first number. We have to go back to the original number. So we're going to have to do a little bit of long division here. And remember, the top number always goes in the house. And 27 goes into 70 two times. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 and 1 is subtract, and we get 7. So our percent of decrease, now we're going to take this decimal, we're going to make it a percent, and this is 25.9%. It's 25.9% decrease. Make sense? It's long division, but you're going to get really good at long division because it's going to go pretty quickly. Next one, 32 is increased to 67. We're still going to subtract. We're just going to subtract the biggest from the smallest. So we're going to do 67 minus 32, and we're going to get 35. So we're going to look at 35 divided by our first number, 32. 35 divided by 32. 32 goes into 35 once. 32 goes into 30 0 times. 32 goes into 300 9 times. Goes into 120 3 times. So we have 1.093. We're going to move this over twice, so our answer is a percent. We end up with 109.3%. And we look at that and we say, 109%, that's an interesting number. Now let's think about this conceptually here. We started out with 32. We got to 67. It grew more than itself. If it grew 100%, it would be 32 and another 32. That's 100% growth. That would be 64. But we have more than 64, so we made more than 100% growth. Does that make sense? Where here, 27 is decreased to 20. Well, we're saying it decreased by just over a quarter. And if we look at this, a quarter of 27, well, a quarter of 28, if you divide 28 by 4, a quarter of 28 is 7. And we actually decreased this by 7. So yeah, it's about a quarter. So you can use your estimation to help you make sure that you've got about the right answer. So it's your turn. You're going to try this one. 25 is increased to 40. So go ahead and push pause and give it a try and come back in a minute and see how you do. Okay? So, 25 is increased to 40. The first thing we're going to do is subtract. We're going to do 40 minus 25, and that gives us 15. And we're going to divide our answer divided by the first number we were given. So this is our long division problem, and the top number goes in the house. 25 goes into 150 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. 12, 13, 14, 15, and it subtracts and we're done. 0.6. So now we're going to go move our decimal over 1, 2 spots, and we end up growing 60% because we have our placeholder. Does that make sense? Now we're going to look at some word problems. How does this look in the real world? So, we have a company called Winter Wonders, and they buy snow globes from China for $9.20 each. And then they sell them at a 95% increase. We have to figure out what the selling price is. So, we're going to start at $9.20, and we're going to increase it whatever 95% is, and that's going to give us our total cost. So we have to find 95% of $9.20. Now let's write that down. 95% of $9.20 means 9.95 times 9.2. And there's our multiplication problem. So we're going to set that up, 90.95. We're going to multiply these two together. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. So we have our 95% increase is $8.74. That's our increase. That's our 95% increase. So we're going to add $8.74 to this for a total cost of, and I'm going to add these together, $17.94. So here you have to kind of look at a bunch of different levels of this. You've got to be able to set up the problem. What is it they're really asking? What are they telling us they're doing? We started with this, and then we increased it 95%. We started with this, and we increased it 95%. I don't know what that is yet. I had to figure out what 95% of 920 was, and then add those two together. Okay? Now we're going to try one that's a little bit different. A jeweler buys a ring for $85, and then he sells it in his store for $200. What is the percent increase? So we start at $85, and that is increased to $200. What is the percent increase? So now this looks just like our problems from the last page. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 200 minus 85. And that's going to give us 15. So we have 15 divided by our original number. Excuse me, 115. So we have 115 divided by our original number. 115 divided by 85. So we're going to do the long division with 85 on the outside and 115 on the inside. 85 goes into 115 once. $85 goes into 300 3 times. $85 goes into 450 5 times. So, if we move our decimal over twice, that gives us a 135% increase. And we look at it and we know that 85 more than doubled. So it's going to be more than 100%. So that makes sense. Okay? All right, we're down to practice. And the practice are just straightforward increases and decreases. So remember, you're going to subtract first, and that number goes on the top of the fraction. You're going to put the original number on the bottom of the fraction. You're going to do that long division, and that is going to give you the decimal that you can move over to make the percentage. Okay? You've got 36 increased to 84, 28 increased to 96, and 180 decreased to 140. So, let me know if you have any problems tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you then. Take care and good luck.